Good day to you. It's Marty Westley, and I'm very glad to have you on this journey that we are taking to search for the truth. So I hope that you will be blessed with me. Good day to you. It's Marty Westley, and we're going to continue with the lecture on the breastplate. And so last time when we spoke, we were speaking about how Israel now have entered the promised land after being wanderers in the wilderness for 40 years. Today, Yahweh is having a spiritual temple built exactly the same way. It cannot be different. The believers in Yahshua and Yahweh are the living stones, and Yahshua is the cornerstone and the builder, and architect is Yahweh, and the Ruach HaKodesh is the spirit of the sanctuary. Matthew 16:13-18 says that when Yeshua came into the coasts of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" And they said, "Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elias," it's the Greek translation of Eliyahu, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. And he says unto them, "But whom say ye that I am?" And Simon Peter answered and said, "Thou art the Hamashiach, the Son of the living El Chai." And Yeshua answered and said unto him, "Blessed art thou, Simon Bar Jonah," which is actually son of Jonah. "For flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." Do you know that nowhere in the Bible it ever mentions the word church? When you look at the Hebrew interpretation of the New Covenant scriptures, you will find that church is a chal. It means temple. And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. They were actually standing at the entrance of Panahum, the gate to the underworld at the foot of Mount Hermon. And so here we can see that Yeshua came to Mount Hermon deliberately. There was something that he had to do with Mount Hermon. And we saw that also in the first or the second or the third lecture where we actually spoke about Mount Hermon. Peter is Petros, also Petra, an unmovable stone. In Hebrew, Peter means to open the matrix, or the womb, or the door. Also means sliver of rock. Peter had just become the first born-again person, the first living stone placed next to the chief cornerstone or foundation stone in the new spiritual temple of Yahweh. Remember, the scripture says that we are all living stones and we are being built into a spiritual temple for Yahweh. And God was going to use Peter to open the door for the Gentile offspring of Abraham to return back to Yahweh. Revelation 2:17 says, "He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and I will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knows, saving he that receives it." A white stone is Psephos, a pebble, a ballot, a verdict of acquittal, like a ticket of admission, a vote or a voice. Many in Israel, the Sanhedrin and many of the Pharisees And the high priest and some of the priesthood stumbled at Yahshua as HaMashiach. We have seen in Hebrew that the letters Aleph and the Beit are the first and second letter of the Aleph Beit. When we place the letters together, it spells Av, Father. The Aleph represents Yahweh, and the Beit represents Yahshua as the house in which Yahweh dwelt. Son, of course, is Ben. And when you add the Aleph to Ben, you get Even, and it means stone. So Yahshua was the stone who came between the Father and the Son, who is Israel, the nation. He is also the foundation stone and the capstone of the renewed covenant temple built with living stones. The matter with the priesthood was that they could not believe that Yahshua was sent from Yahweh. And Exodus 34:1-4 says, And Yahweh said unto Moses, Hew thee 2 tablets of stone like unto the first, and I will write upon these tablets the words that were in the first tables, which thou broke. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me in the top of the mount. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount, neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mount. And he hewed 2 tablets of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up unto Mount Sinai, as Yahweh had commanded him. And he took in his hands the 2 tables of stone. When Yahshua the Word came to the nation at first, he was crushed and broken. But when he returns, they will sing, Blessed be he who comes in the name of Yahweh. Hebrew, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahweh. He will return as the Lion of Judah. So you can see I am mentioning quite a few different kinds of stones in this lecture. The 2 shoulder pieces were 2 onyx stones with the names of the 12 tribes engraved upon them in gold encasements. So the names of the children of Israel were borne by Aaron on his shoulders before Yahweh, as well as the breastplate of judgment with all their names engraved on each gem, encased in gold. So he carried the burden and responsibility of all Israel upon his shoulders and on his heart. If he should fail before Yahweh in his duty, the whole nation would perish. He alone could make atonement for all their sins once a year. Leviticus 16. We see that Aaron, the anointed high priest, was the spokesperson between Israel and Yahweh until Yahshua came, who is now the mediator between Yahweh and his people in the renewed covenant. Yahshua HaMashiach, who carried all the judgment of Israel upon himself for their iniquities committed under the first covenant, is now the high priest Melchizedek of the Dam Berit Chadashah. The renewed blood covenant now also contains the first blood covenant made with Abraham and the marriage covenant with Moses, the one with Yitzchak, the one with David and Solomon. They are all embedded in the eternal renewed covenant. That is why we can claim all the blessings of Deuteronomy 28. Exodus 29:19-20 says, And thou shalt take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the ram. Then shalt thou kill the ram, and take up his blood, and put it upon the tip of the ear of Aaron, and upon the tip of the right ear of his sons, and upon the thumb of their right hand, and upon the great toe of their right foot, and sprinkle the blood upon the altar round about. Blood to the ears, hands, and feet applied signified all the bodily members and soul and spirit faculties of the priests, were to be consecrated to Yahweh and to his service, the hearing, the working, and the walking, to hear and obey, and his Torah in all his ways. Now let's look at the breastplate of Argon, which was worn on his breast every day. There were 12 beautiful gems inlaid onto the breastplate, representing each tribe of Israel. Reuben means, see ye a son. Reuven, the Hebrew way of speaking about Reuben, the gem is a sardius, odem in the Hebrew. It means readiness to submit. A son who would submit to the shedding of his blood, even to the death on the cross on behalf of his nation. Simeon is hearing, and so Shimon's gem is a topaz. It's a pdah, to be pure. It is pale green and yellow. Yahshua's ears were opened. He came as a bond servant, as one without rights. He, the pure, sinless one. Levi means attached or joined, and Levi's gem is the carbuncle, and it's called barket. This gem is as flashing, a deep red. Yahshua joined himself to Israel to grow up among them, to become like one of them, then to be rejected by them, to die in their stead. Now let's look at Judah. Judah means praise and worship, and means celebrated. Yehudah. Yehudah's gem is an emerald, nofech, to glisten, to shine, a bright sea green. This is a prophecy that one day this son of Judah will become a praise and a celebration in the earth. Dan means judge, and Dan's gem is a sapphire, and it is called sefer, to recount, to record, to declare, to inscribe, and it's called the Book of Yah. It is hard, but a clear blue. Yahshua took all the judgments of the broken Torah upon himself, because he is the sefer, the living Torah. Now we come to Naphtali, and it means my wrestling. Naphtali's gem is a diamond, yohalom, to heal, clear, sparkling gem, and it's an adamant, but precious. So it's hard like an adamant. Yahshua set his face like an adamant, like a flint, remember? And wrestled with death and overcame death to give atonement to his people. God means fortune or a troop. Now God's gem is a ligure, and it means lishem, to a name. It is a cinnamon color with yellow. On behalf of his Father's name in him, he will distribute treasures to many, even forgiveness and everlasting life and healing. Asher means straight and happy. Asher's gem is an agate, and it means shavu. Asher's gem flashes or streameth, means to return, to restore to life. It is a picture of many colors like white, red, yellow. Yahshua was resurrected from the grave on behalf of the many who would accept his sacrifice to restore them to life. Then we come to Issachar. He will bring a reward. Now Issachar in the Hebrew is Yisachar, and the gem is an amethyst, Achlama, and it means to join closely. It is a purple hue, and Yahshua will return to join and to reward his people as the King, the Lion of Judah. Now we come to Zebulun, means habitation. So the Hebrew name is Zebulun, and his gem is a chrysolite beryl, and it means in the Hebrew is Tarshish, bluish green. Yahshua will make his dwelling with his people here on earth for 1,000 years to come. Joseph, or Yosef in the Hebrew, means adding on, and his gem is the onyx. And onyx is shoham, and it means zeal blanche. It is like marble with layers of different colors. Like Joseph's many-colored coat, many different nations will be added onto Ephraim in the last days as the everlasting priesthood of Melchizedek. Avram will be the father of many nations. Benjamin, son of my right hand, his gem is a jasper, and it means in the Hebrew Yahshua, Yahweh's strength to polish, to shine. Resemblance of the name Yah. It is bright green with white, red, and yellow spots, and when you listen closely to each name, you hear the prophecy of the coming Son of Heaven and the qualities of the Son of Yahweh's right hand. His people are joined to the Father through his name, Yahshua, for all eternity. Now we are going to go to Ezekiel 28, 12, 18. We've discussed this scripture before, but because it's the breastplate of Satan, I found it necessary to go back there. It says, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus says Yahweh Elohim, Thou sealest up the sun, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, the topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee that day when thou was created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covers. You know, I found in the Bible that he was the only anointed cherub. He must have been so special. And he covered the throne where Yahweh sat on, because Yahweh's glory was such that it had to be reduced through a screen. Otherwise, the angels around the throne would never be able to work. And I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of Elohim. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned, and therefore will I cast thee as profane out of the mountain of Elohim. And I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, and by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. Remember what his trafficking was? He was telling all the other angels to rebel against their king. And a third of the angels did rebel. But now here we see what is going to happen to Satan in the end times. A fire will develop inside of him, and it will devour him, and will bring him to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all of them that loved him. It's sad. We see that this cherub was the most beautiful and anointed angel before the throne of Yahweh. His chest was covered with most of the gems which were on the breastplate of Argon. Verse 15 states, until iniquity was found in him. Isaiah 14 speaks also about him. Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead of the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Who are these dead? It's the Rephaim, the seed of the Nephilim. And we know that there are Nephilim already amongst us today. The word says that they will come back again at the end of days. And it's not going to be a good place to be on the earth that particular day of Yahweh. Now let's look at the word Lucifer. Lucifer is Hallel in the sense of brightness, the morning star. In the Hebrew, it's the shining one, Ben Shachar, son of the morning. Another star of the morning is Venus, the dawn goddess. Her other name is the Queen of Heaven, Ishtar, are worshipped today by many different names. And today Hallel is known as Satan, an opponent, accuser, and an adversary. Verse 13 says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? This is another part that we didn't know, that he also had prisoners, but he never opened the cells for them. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Hallel had 3 stones or gems missing from his breast, that was upon the breastplate of judgment, used in the priesthood of Israel. Jacinth, the Shem, to the name of Yah, and agate, Shavu, to return, to restore to life, and amethyst, Achlama, to join closely. He missed out on the above gems because of his pride, and was cast out of heaven because of his sin and rebellion. All the attributes of the gems and the Urim and the Tumim placed in the breastplate of Aaron reflected Yahshua's light and perfection, and his attributes and his characteristics seen on his heart when he was crucified on behalf of the harlot nation of Israel, laying down his own life in their stead, taking their full judgment upon himself. When Yeshua died, he cried out, "It is finished." Shalem, complete. Complete as if she had never sinned. Also means kala, finished, complete, perfect, as a bride. Even now, he is interceding for his people in the heavenly temple until the fullness of time, when he will return to fetch his betrothed in the air for the marriage supper of the Lamb. Revelation 21:10-27 says, "And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Elohim, having the glory of Elohim, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a great wall, great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb: Simon Peter, Andrew, James, son of Zebedee, John, Philip, Nathanael, Thomas, Matthew, James, son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon, and Matthias. And he that talked with me had a golden reed, to measure the city and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with a reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof, 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. First foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls, and every several gate was of 1 pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for Yahweh Elohim, Almighty, and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of Elohim did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it, and there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination, or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. We are so used to saying Jerusalem, the city of the great King, but let's say it in Hebrew, Yerushalayim, plural word, always has been. Yerushalayim, meaning 2 cities. At the end of the days, the heavenly Jerusalem will come down from heaven onto the earthly Jerusalem, and she shall be called by a new name, Yahweh Shama. Yahweh is there. Amen and amen. And so we've come to the end of this lecture of all the beautiful stones. That is a reminder of the beautiful character of the Messiah. He is the only one. Praise his wonderful name. Thank you. I will see you again next time. I'm Ari Westley, closing up for this day. Shalom and shalom. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today on today's journey. I hope you will join me again next time. So, shalom for today until I see you again.